Welcome to this Ask the Experts, and this time I'm joined by Krishna Rahman, Head of Engineering here at DeltaStream. Thank you for joining me, Krishna.
Oh, absolutely. The pleasure.
So, Krishna, you've had quite a history, and I'm hoping you'll tell me a little bit about your background and what you're doing here at DeltaStream, what you're building here, and we can kind of grow off of that.
Yeah. So, yes, going back in time a little bit, I joined a little startup called Makara that was developing a PaaS platform, right? And so that
Hmm.
got acquired by Red Hat, and the two companies basically put their minds together. And I was one of uh, the founding engineers of OpenShift, right? And
Oh,
this was pre-Kubernetes days. So this was bash scripts and kernel level things that you had to play with in order to get these containers isolated. They weren't called containers back then, even. I think we called them gears or something. Uh, so that was OpenShift. I worked over there for a while and later on transitioned to more of the open source side of OpenShift,
mhm.
trying to get this thing, packaged in a nice way so that people could actually deploy OpenShift into their platforms as well. After that, I left Red Hat and I joined another company called Strongloop. Strongloop was a Node.js company, and so they
Oh, okay.
were helping people develop Node.js applications and run them. And so over there, again, I was on the platform side of it, helping them actually deploy the Node.js applications into OpenShift, into Mesos Marathon. Like there were a couple of other technologies out there competing with each other.
Okay.
Strongloop eventually got acquired by IBM. And at IBM, I joined their API Connect team, running their platform side. Right, so we
Okay.
had an application, a pretty complex application that needed to be deployed on Kubernetes and run. And so I got a lot of experience running stuff on Kubernetes as a user of Kubernetes over there.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's low level.
yeah, surprising thing. I think everything eventually rolled up into IBM because IBM bought Red Hat, which So yeah, more recently, I joined Hojat as a founding engineer at DeltaStream, and over here I'm leading the development effort, primarily focusing on how do you run the workloads, right?
Mm.
How do you make sure that everything is running well, isolated, scalable? And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Awesome. So there's a lot. I mean, here at Delta Stream, of course, we're working in the streaming space primarily. But I'm curious your thoughts on, and we were talking about this recently, how you think BYOC is going to change the streaming landscape. I mean, that term BYOC has really come to the fore in the last year. You weren't really hearing it 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty important change. So it gives us a lot of advantages. If you think about it, customers want a fully managed environment, right? They want Flink, a fully managed Flink, but they still want the flexibility of running within their cloud hosting. So if you think of BYOC, it gives customers the control and the flexibility of running in their environment, uh,
Mm.
tailored to their requirements, but still have it fully managed. It's also close to the data. So if you are doing a lot of heavy processing, you're going to be doing a lot of network IO. Having the processing being close to wherever the data is actually hosted is going to be important. So if they're running if they're running Kafka within their environment, MSK or any such thing, so they want the latency to be low. They want the data transfer cost to be low.
Right.
Right. The other advantage is they can take advantage of their committed spend, or if they have any discounts from their cloud providers. Us running in a BYOC environment automatically takes advantage of that. And cloud providers will also like this because it gives them more long-term workloads running over there. And so that can feed back.
Oh yeah. So
And yeah,
so in that scenario, I guess what do you Is there a type of function, query, process? Like I know anomaly detection tends to be pretty important in this space, and with IoT, if you're doing internetworking costs with this constant stream of data from whatever it is, smart cars, smart buildings, sensors of some sort. eh, Are you seeing a particular trend in this space? Fintech, hardware?
Really, any place that has real-time data that needs processing, IoT is definitely one. Fintech, uh, I'm guessing like any of the equivalent of FedEx or
Oh yeah.
transportation companies where they have these trucks roaming around and sending messages back as to their location, their status, like food delivery, like
Yeah, that
you know,
makes sense.
any of those that has real time data will have and take advantage of stream processing.
So how do you think Flink 2.0 might affect this and what we're doing here at DeltaStream? I mean, it's not quite here yet, but we know what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things in Flink 2.0 is disaggregated state.
Mm,
And in real brief, it's basically right now when Flink does state, it maintains local state on the node that it's running on.
mhm.
And every once in a while, it'll take a checkpoint and push it up to S3. So if you're then restoring, you pull down that checkpoint, rebuild the local state, and then Flink can resume. With disaggregated state, it's Flink is working directly against S3 or GCS or any of these cloud stores.
Mm,
And so what that'll enable is, first of all, it'll be faster recovery from failures. So if there is a failure and Flink needs to bring up a new copy of itself and resume from state, it can do that much quicker because it doesn't have to copy data back and forth a lot. Uh, it will also make sure that if you're scaling up or scaling down Flink, you can take advantage of this, again, disaggregated state to make that process smoother. So
mm.
we have to take advantage of that. And in order to do that, we will essentially build some of that intelligence into our platform as well, so
Okay.
that we can have Flink scale up, have Flink recover from errors using disaggregated state.
Yeah, them solving that problem makes that significantly easier, right?
Yeah.
So, what what kind of challenges do you think real-time streaming still in the industry still needs to solve? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, it's complex to run, right? So having real time streaming infrastructure, even if you're using Flink, is complex to set up, to run, to maintain. You have to pay close attention to, okay, am I running multiple workloads on the same cluster? Are they going to clobber each other if something happens? Do I need to run multiple copies of Flink? How do I make sure it's isolated? How do I make sure it's secure? Vent
Mhm.
credentials to it. There's a lot that goes into actually running uh, a real time processing infrastructure,
Yeah.
which, if customers take that burden on themselves, they have to build their own team around this, hire Flink engineers. Uh, but that's something that we can help with. Right? So the reason I joined DeltaStream and I saw a good opportunity here is to take advantage of our expertise to build out this infrastructure,
Mhm.
and then have uh, companies take advantage of our product.
So really, it's the complexity. I mean, there's a lot of great open source tools, but to understand them, to deploy them, to manage them, there's a lot of little knob turning has to take place.
Yeah,
And either you use something like a Delta Stream or you have a lot of really smart people working for you.
right. Exactly.
Well, that's some good insights. Thank you, Krishna. I really appreciate you taking some time and talking to me today, sharing a little bit about your background and where Delta Stream's going with everything.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Sean.